2012, or November 12th, 2019 Town Council meeting. Roll call, please.
Andy Schaefer.
Here.
Andy Keith. Trey Roby.
Here.
Luke Gear.
Present.
Tyson Hacking.
Here.
Matt Bilgren. Elisa Grinder.
Here.
Tyson, would you lead us in invocation, please?
Absolutely. Our dearest kind Heavenly Father, we're so very grateful for the opportunity to serve. We ask Thee to bless us, that we can make the appropriate and correct decisions. We can be guided. We're grateful for the men and women that serve in our military. We ask Thee to bless them, that they can be protected and watched over. We're grateful for this wonderful town and ask Thee to bless it. And we love Thee and say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Lisa, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 5A, discussion action to approve the minutes of the October 22nd, 2019 meeting.
Make the motion to approve the minutes from October 22nd.
I'll second it.
Motion is made by Trey, second by Alyssa. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Petitions and public input.
Hi, how are you all doing?
Good.
Would you sit? Yes, sure.
Michaela, if you'd just introduce yourselves.
My name is Michaela Barton. I'm Economic Development Coordinator for Rio Blanco County. And I have with me Carly Thompson, who is Economic Development Specialist also for the county. So we brought you guys some little gifts.
Thank you. Thank you.
So we just wanted to come share with you guys one of the many projects that we're working on right now. Just so that when you see it, or if you're wondering, you know what we're doing and how we got to what we are, what we're doing. So we're starting a marketing campaign that we're doing some testing right now until the end of the year, and then we're going to kind of use it for the rest of 2020. And so I guess you can.
So we started with the conducting research. This was done when Caitlin Cook was with the county. It was a Colorado Blueprint 2.0 study. That was combined with a DCI broadband study on OREC. And we used that research to kind of build where we are right now. We built our brand strategy and developed our brand identity as well. Right now we're in the marketing and planning phase. We're working with the Line Multimedia out of Rifle to help us with this. And then the purpose is to tell our own story of Rio Blanco County instead of the story being told for us. And then we'll continue monitoring results on digital and print presence throughout 2020.
Can you guys in the back hear her? Okay.
Through the DCI study, Rio Blanco County was identified as a place to live. We also identified a place to work and a place to visit, but we focus on a place to live. And quality of life, safe schools, great community, those things were at the forefront. But then also what came up was that it was challenging and boring here. And so why we have to highlight our assets and our weaknesses through this, and that's kind of why we brought that in there. On the perception, this is more of our top strengths and weaknesses: outdoor recreation, community-minded, agricultural heritage, open space, and then our broadband network were our strengths. What our weaknesses were: remote, lack of attractions and services, limited retail, limited employment, and expensive. So we have to do a little of education there because we are not actually expensive to live in compared to the rest of the state. So that's just more on our strengths and weaknesses.
So these are just kind of perceptions from the survey, and so knowing these things, it's helps us to say, you know, we can do a cost of living when we're advertising. You know, we can compare ourselves to Denver, and you know, just sort of get people to realize that it's not more expensive to live here. It's actually much cheaper. So even though the groceries might be a little bit more, it's actually overall still a lot cheaper. So
Was the survey statewide? Sorry.
The survey from the Blueprint 2.0 was countywide, not state.
So these are county perceptions, like
Yes.
from the inside.
Yes. Correct. So from our research with DCI, they came up with our target audiences. They told us to market to current residents, tourists and visitors, businesses operating in the county, potential residences, and then businesses currently operating in the state and region. And we kind of switched that up a little bit. We will keep the current residents. That's one of our main target audiences. And then our second audience is potential residents. And we broke those into two categories. We have our primary profile and then the secondary profile that we'll be working with. So you have to love the outdoors or a remote worker to be attracted. And we're going to fall into one of those categories. We also are going to reach out to young families, active retirees, and then returning young adults, either graduates of high school here or graduates of CNCC, and reach out to them to bring them back to Rio Blanco County.
And our reasoning behind the current residents is just that community pride really goes a long way. You know, if you love it here and you tell your friends that don't live here, or, you know, the people that live here are the ones that share things on social media and talk about, you know, if you talk about the bad things, then so we're just trying to kind of fuel that community pride too with the marketing to current residents.
And with that, we're not going to focus on tourism. That won't be the goal from economic development. And then kind of switching the mind frame of, instead of being everything to everybody, we're going to be something really special to a smaller population. It's more of the mindset.
And our, just if the tourism thing is that the chambers really focus on tourism, and what we were finding was that there was a lot of duplicating efforts where we were in the same magazine and we didn't know it, and we were in the same, so just, we were duplicating a lot of things. And so we're going to be using the outdoor rec still as something that we want to promote, but it's more of, you know, come use the rock crawling park because you can have that lifestyle. It's in your backyard, not just for the weekend. And tourism is still definitely a part of it, but for economic development wise, we're focused more on relocate here rather than just visiting, which it is still a part of it, but our focus is the relocation part of it. So our goals for marketing for the next year are just increase awareness overall, increase our social media and website traffic. So we have our ChooseRioBlanco.com website that has pretty much anything you would ever need to know about relocating here for residents and businesses. And so just they're built. We just want to increase the traffic to that. And that's kind of the goal just for the next year, is to increase our audience through social media and the website traffic. And then intentionally tell our story. We feel like we'll be more successful if we're attracting people that kind of want to be here because of what we have here. We're not trying to grow it to be this crazy, you know, we like it because there's not a Walmart here, and so we're just trying to attract the people that would be here on purpose, I guess. And have a regional cohesive brand, again, the website and social media, and fuel community pride. And yeah, so here is our marketing brand that we came up with. So you guys will be seeing this as you did on your notebooks. And it's kind of made to look kind of like a brand, but not quite, maybe like a modern style of a brand.
Yep.
So when you guys see that, we just kind of reorganized the ChooseRioBlanco.com website, so we're using that throughout. And then kind of the messaging that we are, how we came up with who are we, who do we want to be, is that this is kind of the direction that we see Colorado is taking. The Impossible Burger, marijuana everywhere, and the traffic. And this is what people are seeing in Colorado now, and that's not who we want to be, and that's not the image that we want to portray. So that's why we came up with, we are calling it the Redefine campaign, and this is just basically letting people know that if they come to Rio Blanco County, it's traditional Colorado, it's still kind of how it used to be, family values, outdoors. We kind of see not having the marijuana shops within our county is our niche, in that we're one of the only few clean counties left, and there are people that have been moving because of that, because we can proudly say that rather than jumping on the bandwagon of joining in. Agriculture and the Western culture, just promoting that. And
So we've got our target audiences.
yes.
So we have designed a few different ads. We're going back to the 5 target audiences. Remote workers. The things we're going to highlight is our connectivity with broadband at a reasonable cost. We actually have better internet service in Rio Blanco County than you do in downtown Denver. Low cost of living, the outdoor lifestyle, and then that you truly can be location neutral here. So this is one of the ads we have up right now, placed there.
And through each of these target audiences, we're planning on about 12 different ads per target audience. And a lot of it's just going to be testing, seeing what sticks with people and what doesn't. So this is just one example of the connected one.
So our outdoor enthusiasts, we have Redefine Your Backyard. There we're highlighting the access to public lands, that you literally leave your door and they are out there. And you don't have to spend your entire weekend getting there. You can just use them. For our young families, highlighting our quality schools, safe neighborhoods, the low cost of living, family-friendly events, and that it truly is a wonderful place to raise your kids here. And then our active retirees, our quality health care, a low cost of living, great local amenities, and then the opportunity for recreation here as well. And then our returning to your hometown, returning to your roots. This is going back to a lot of the hometown pride and fueling that cohesion between the county itself. We will also be doing some print advertisements. This one is Redefine Winter. This is going to go in a magazine called West of 105. And we're also going to be doing some video production with Align Multimedia, doing about 6 to 10 30-second commercials that will be aired on a variety of YouTube channels. We can put them on digital platforms that we can have live commercials on there.
And then the Reclaim Your Roots is going to be, we're going to try for the locals. So this is just, just being proud of industry, kind of taking a stand on that, where maybe the rest of Colorado's not. It keeps our country running. We're proud of that, and we're not ashamed of it. And then, the agriculture, and there will be several more of these, but these are just some examples of what we're thinking. The one on the left is actually local photography, and we're hoping that most of it will be local photography that we're just going to build throughout the year. So it'll be local people in these photos, and local hands, whatever. Just use as much local as we can.
So in all of our ads, there's going to be a few different things that are always going to be consistent. They're going to be directed towards our target audiences through the phrase of backyard, connected, families, happiness. Then we're going to use compelling photography, like Michaela said, hopefully a lot of local photography. Redefine or reclaim will be in them, depending on who our target audience is. We have a hashtag in our website at the bottom, and then our county brand on that. However, then when we are working on these, we felt it was important for each of the towns to have some identity too, because they are different. So we do have some specific Rangeley ones that we can do. Here we did Redefine Symphony and Redefine Fine Art.
And these are just examples that we came up with real quick, just to show you kind of what we can work, how we can work together and do anything specific you guys want to have as,
to focus on.
Yeah, and we can do whatever website specifically that you want to use. We can use the or the Choose Rio Blanco, or we can use the Chamber or whatever. But we like, it's kind of neat that some of them would be specific to Rangeley, because people don't necessarily move to a county; they move to one or the other. So if we can just kind of do a combination of them, but they all look the same, so it's from the same place. And then here's an example of some that would be more meeker specific with the snow more snow.
More snow.
Snowmobiling. So that's the gist of it. I did have, we're just trying to increase our Facebook audience. We've got some goals there, and this shows, kind of what we've done a couple. When this presentation was made, we had paid for a few ads, so you can see kind of the difference on what we just organically get reach-wise, and then when we pay for it, and just some different ads and what their reach were. And then we'll have, these are the demographics of what currently follows us, so we can kind of use this stuff. And we've got some other pretty neat reports that are like using location services from cell phone data to figure out where we should be reaching out to, which we can talk about another day. But this is kind of the gist of what the message is that we will be sharing. So that's it.
So going back to your target marketing of your Facebook ads,
Yes.
what was your most popular ad and what was your most popular demographic?
So we only paid for a couple different things. So our most popular ad so far has been the girl in the boat. So this one that we did, these were before we were paying for them. We just wanted to see what organically reached people. And randomly, the people love photos of the river, apparently. And then this one drone footage of Ripple Creek Pass in June was popular as well. And so far, we're still just doing testing to figure out what ads are going to reach people, and we'll make adjustments all year, and we're just going to kind of constantly watch that. And then I think that's going to help us in the future. Maybe the active retirees is not something we should focus on, but so far, I think that the broadband is going to be a main focus, just because we really need to share that while it's out there, and it's been pretty popular. And so we get a couple hundred clicks on our website from the week that we had it, that we paid to have that ad out. So we're just kind of testing different things so far. But yeah, so any questions?
No, thank you guys.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Michaela.
Yes, thank you.
This is really great.
Is there any other public input? Changes to the agenda?
We just had the one agenda item change. I'm sorry, it's rambling through. We changed the item for the Lexipol policies. That's a resolution rather than what we had published earlier in the week. The resolution would be 2019.08.
What letter is that, Lisa?
Is it D?
D.
Okay. We don't have any public hearings, committee, and board meetings?
I don't recall if we had one since we haven't met for 3 weeks. I think we had our RDA before then, and so was the AGNC meeting. We just had the utility committee meeting, which we talked about rates and the fluoride, which we're going to talk about today. Rate increases we'll probably have to rediscuss in our our utilities committee meeting in this next year. So just to maintain our compatibility with the grant process, we need to, be looking at rate increases periodically. And our last one was in 2015. So we're looking at discussing that in next year for possibly a grant or a rate increase in 2021.
Reports from council? Item 11, supervisory reports. Janet?
Hello, everybody. So for the month of October, we focused mostly on, for code enforcement, with the open code cases to help to bring them into compliance. So we had 29 total closed cases for the month, 5 new cases, and of those new cases, 3 were weeds on property, 4 were the refuse on property. There was 1 junk vehicle, 1 vehicle parking, and then 1 location for mobile homes and RVs. So during the winter months, because of the cold weather, we just respond to any, complaints that we have for code violation because it's hard for people to get out and do a lot in the cold. For liquor licensing, I processed 3 renewal liquor licenses, sent them to the state, and there was 1 special event permit processed. For the Main Street, everything, all of the town properties were winterized, ready for winter. Did the fall cleanup on them, pruned a couple trees. And then for White River Village, 1 tenant recertification was processed and 1 new tenant certification sent to USDA. Apartment 16 was cleaned prior to move-in, cleaned and organized the maintenance closet, pulled out carpet from apartment 16 to prep for the remodel, which we're right in the process of that right now, which includes new texture, paint, flooring, light fixtures, and bathroom update. Cleaned light fixtures in 2 of the buildings. Maintenance and cleaning is ongoing. Winterized the irrigation system, and we got the entire exterior of all the buildings painted, which was a huge project. Prepared the AFHMP for the USDA, and I was able to pass my NAMA certification, which is National Affordable Housing Management Association, so that was kind of a big deal. The residents also, just a little tidbit, they won for the most creative scarecrow competition at White River, so they were happy about that.
Great.
Any questions?
Is White River Village full?
We have just the 1 open that we're working on remodeling, but other
okay.
than that, we're full, yeah.
Thanks, Janet.
Yep.
Lisa?
So we've been busy working on budget. Obviously, we did our review tonight. We hope that we'll continue to hone down some of those capital projects. They're very expensive, and all of our employees and supervisors are working very hard to make those affordable as best we can. The CNCC hosted the Northwest Colorado Air and Space Coalition. I was unable to attend, but Andy Key did, and some of the notes that he brought back from there that they discussed that they're going to prepare a tour of the spaceport on the Front Range, also add a tour of a couple relative local aerospace aviation businesses. And we also had this discussion in the AGNC meeting that because of what they're doing on the Front Range, that opens a lot of doors sometimes for smaller businesses, not necessarily in the Front Range, but even maybe closer to us, just because of our airport not being as busy. Maybe we can, key off of that and try and get some of those businesses located on the western slope. So I think that is part of this discussion as well. They're going to try and schedule a meeting with our state legislators. The CNCC is driving this, and also AGNC is assisting them. And there's also going to be a tour of some of those other facilities that they're doing in Utah. And Ron is taking care of that, and I believe that'll be the first part of December. So if anybody's interested in going and looking at some of those as well, I can get you those dates. I'm going to try and attend that too. They're going to be, I believe it's in St. George. Is that correct, Elisa? I don't have that in front of me, but he's got that scheduled for the first part of December to just see how they are moving forward with a lot of those industries. And I don't know, did Michaela leave?
Yeah.
But Rio Blanco Economic Development is putting together a list of manufacturers from the region, just to see if there's some connections that we can make to try and attract any of those kind of economic development opportunities. Chief Hamblin and I have been talking about some ways that we can possibly move forward with a reward for any tips or information from the most recent robbery at the True Value, and we haven't got the complete word on that yet, but ATF said that they were going to authorize $5,000, and we might get another additional $5,000 from one of the agencies that they work with. I'm going to attend a Crime Stoppers board meeting tomorrow in Grand Junction to kind of get some information of how they organize that. We could do that on a smaller level, but I also think that would help with some of the vandalism that's going around town. Sometimes people may like to, give you information, but they want to be anonymous about it, which is understandable. So we're looking at trying to, open those doors and also maybe do some neighborhood watch information. People, pay attention to their homes and businesses, and maybe, if, the people that are doing these things in town know that we're starting to be more aggressive as citizens too, we can help stop some of that. So we're going to work on that, and I'm going to attend that meeting tomorrow in Grand Junction, and then as soon as Chief Hamblin comes back, we'll discuss that and see if there's some programs that we can move forward to try and assist in, preventing some of that crime. All of our departments have been very busy. Public Works obviously got a little snow removal done in the last couple of weeks. I'm not ready for winter. I don't know about everybody else. We did conduct 2 more interviews for our economic development position. I think I'm just still waiting on some of the panel's reviews of those 2. I'm not sure if we're still ready to move yet forward on that. I want to make sure it's the right person, so I'll keep you updated on that as well. We're trying to move forward with our, I'm sorry, I lost my thought there. November is, for the coupons, and we haven't had too many yet, but we're trying to put that back out on Facebook. Yes, Chopping Day. I don't really have anything else going on right now, but do you guys have any questions about any of those items?
Thank you, Lisa. Old business, item 13. New business, item 14A, discussion and action to approve a request from Western Rio Blanco Metropolitan Park and Rec District for a contribution of $1,500 to cover the sleigh cost for Christmas 2019, December 12th through 14th.
Hello. I'm Bethany Green with the Rec and Park District. We are gearing up for our Christmas Fest weekend, December 13th and 14th. It's a weekend of free Christmas events for the community. We do a parade of lights, a Christmas concert, breakfast with Santa, chili dinner, and carriage rides. The past couple years, we've been able to provide 2 carriages with the help of your guys' sponsorship, and we were just wondering if you guys would be willing to do that again this year.
So Lisa, what did we donate last year? Was it
We paid for the sleigh rides.
1,500? Does it only cover the sleigh?
It covers 1 sleigh. Yeah, so the cost of 2 is, double that. And we cover 1 sleigh if you guys are able to cover the second sleigh. It provides, we've had in the past 200 people that attend this event this year. I'm not aware of any conflicts at this time, so hopefully there'll be more community members that'll come out and participate and enjoy the evening. It takes place up on La Mesa. They take them around the inner circle, and then right around Ryan and Dana Hewitt donate all the chili and stuff for that night.
So did you have a big turnout last year?
We did. We had 200 at least come, yeah.
So I was talking to Connie on Saturday, and she had some ideas. geared up towards contest for Light Up Rangeley and, you know, something kind of geared towards what they did for Halloween. Have you guys been able to
we
talk to
chatted
her?
with her a little bit today. We're gonna add a tree decorating contest for the businesses and a window decorating contest for all the businesses in town. So that'll go in kind of hand in hand with our individual home light up contest. The businesses will just have a little bit different feel this year.
So I'm going back to the sleigh. How are you going to pay for that second sleigh?
The Rec and Park covers the cost of that sleigh.
Where's it coming from? The sleigh. Where does the sleigh come
Oh, it
from?
comes out of Loma. I'm sorry.
Okay, because I'm thinking that's a lot of money for a
Yeah,
sleigh.
they come out of Loma. It's Absolute Prestige that we've used for the past 5 years or so.
And you feel it's worth that cost?
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve the request from the Western Rio Blanco Park and Rec District for the contribution of $1,500 to cover the sleigh costs for Christmas Fest 2019.
I'll second it.
Motion's been made by Luke, second by Alyssa. Is it, one question I have,
Yeah.
it says December 12th through the 14th. What day is it?
So the carriage rides are on the night of the 13th.
Okay.
The night of the 12th, we go around. Anyone's welcome to join us, and we judge all the houses that have entered for the Light Up Rangeley contest. And then Saturday, we've got all the other activities that go on. A free a cappella concert. They're coming in from Salt Lake to put that on after the Parade of Lights on Saturday. So there's all kinds of fun, free activities for the community to participate in.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for what you guys do for the community. Item 14B, discussion and action to approve the October 2019 check register.
I will make a motion to approve the October 2019 check register.
Second.
Motion's made by Tyson, second by Trey. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 14C, discussion action to approve the liquor license renewal for Nichols Store.
I'll make the motion to approve the liquor license for Nichols.
Second.
Motion's made by Trey, second by Luke. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 14D, discussion and action to approve the Lexipol policies as official Rangeley policies and procedures.
I didn't have a chance to. I didn't ever get those in my email. I don't think.
I did, and it's like 600
pages.
pages long.
It's way long. Some light reading.
And actually, that would be to approve the resolution. I'm sorry, we didn't get the right.
Oh, to approve the resolution to look
So
at them.
you want it to sound to say
Actually, Mayor Bell, we just didn't get the right amendment.
So it'd be
on that.
discussion action to approve the Lexipol.
resolution 2019-08.
1908, and she's going
The
to get the
Lexipol
corrected
policies.
one. And that policy is in front of you.
Well, I thought it was very thorough, what I did get through. I'm just talking about the Lexipol.
So the Lexipol policy, and Andy is more familiar, I think, just because of the fire department. Lexipol is a constantly changing document. I mean, initially, when they go through it, they go through and pick the policies that apply to our town. There's lots of policies that might be more geared towards a metropolitan area as opposed to a rural area. They did go through and amended all of those, and Ty Hamblin got through all of those policies in late December 2018. As each of our officers have moved into their field training, they go through them. Obviously, if you look through the document that I sent you, it's 645 pages, so it does take time, but you have to read through all of those before you can move on to the next one. And each of the officers have completed that process. We should probably have adopted the Lexapol as a policy sooner. That was my mistake. I assumed it had been done, so that's what we're doing tonight. But as you can see in the actual resolution, they update it constantly as laws change and move forward. So we'll probably revisit this annually, and you will have the chance to see what those changes have been in the past year, each year.
And this is the one where they have to go in and they do refresher courses throughout the month, don't they, on this to help make sure they're.
And as updates come through, those are pushed out to each of the officers. They are also having dispatch go through those policies and procedures as well. That helps with their ability to assist the officers when they get into, multiple agency calls. So.
What about, so and then section 3, that the chief is the only one that's going to be authorized to do any changes to it?
Lexapol pushes out changes as well
Right,
when
but-
there's changes in the law.
Right, but the chief is the only one that gets to pick out which ones he's going to keep, choose, or change. Is that what that's saying in section 3?
Yes, because you wouldn't have anyone else doing those other than your chief of police or the Lexapol policy makers based on law changes.
I don't think it's something that he can just go in and say, no, we're not gonna put this one in our deal because we don't think that speeding's an issue. I mean, I think he's got to, Lexapol sit there, they're there to help him out. But there's parts of it that doesn't pertain to our police department.
I get it.
And that's some of the stuff that he omitted from it. One of the things that Andy requested is that there are changes that need to be made. I don't think that Lisa is going to be there to help or to talk about the changes, but then we'd like to get together at the end of each year with the Public Safety Committee and go through these changes that have been made. Like I said, the Lexapol is a living document. It's changing all the time.
Is annually enough to go over them? I mean, are we going to be changing them often enough where we should look at it quarterly or semi-annually versus at the end of the year? We just
I
give the
believe
stamp
that
of
I can
approval?
push that out to you. If we see that there's going to be multiple changes, we would definitely bring that forward. I don't think that you're going to see that many changes that often unless there are changes in the law, which they push out. And then the chief would review them and see if they're applicable to our community.
Sounds good.
I think it's different than our municipal code where, it's something that we would have to vote on in order for it to get changed. So this is a good program. There's a lot of counties and cities that are local to us that are using it.
So we're just doing the, what is this?
Resolution
Okay.
2019-08, if you'll just read the header of that, if you're going to
And
make
he's
a
got it.
motion.
Or Trey's got it.
Okay.
I'll make the motion to approve resolution 2019-08,
I'll second
authorizing
it.
the adoption of Lexapol.
Motion's made by Trey, second by Alyssa. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 14E, discussion and action to approve a letter of support to the BLM White River Field Office for an off-highway vehicle grant to provide funding for implementation of proposed open areas for OHV in the WRFO Travel Management Resource Plan Amendment.
So we received that request from Luke Smith with the White River office, and some of the areas and locations that they're going to include in this grant are the LO7 Hill south of Meeker, the Rangeley Rock Crawling Park, north of Rangeley 10 to 37 acres, and north of Dinosaur 50 to 150 acres. The grant will assist in parking lots, informational kiosks, fencing, and additional signage to support those new open areas.
Who's their grant through, did they say?
It's a travel management grant, and I'm trying to read here really quick. It's a state-funded one, so I'm not sure which agency it's through. I don't see that, Andy.
Pardon?
I don't see that in his request.
I'll make the motion to approve the letter of support of BLM White River Field Office.
I'll second it.
Motion is made by Trey, second by Alyssa. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 14F, discussion and action to approve resolution 2019-05, authorizing the April 7th, 2020 Rangeley regular municipal election to be conducted as a mail ballot election and appoint the town clerk as the town's designated election official to be responsible for running the election and establishing a voting precinct in the town.
Unless there's any questions, I'd like to approve the resolution 2019-05.
I'll second.
Motion's made by Luke, second by Tyson. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 14G, discussion action to approve resolution 2019-06, authorizing the town clerk of the town of Rangeley to appoint elected judges and additional election personnel for the regular municipal election of April 7th, 2020.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2019-06.
Second.
Motion's made by Alyssa, second by Trey. Any other discussion?
I'm just curious, is it's basically you could appoint anyone?
At her discretion.
Huh?
It would be at her
You would-
discretion.
No, anyone.
You obviously, and Maribel this is her first election, but you obviously get
Just-
people that normally have gone
Okay.
through the election judge training. You don't just,
Or anybody?
right.
Okay.
Do they fill out an application?
No, we usually go out and seek them out. We don't have people knocking down our door to be elected judges.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 14H, discussion and action to approve resolution 2019-07, a resolution to present a ballot question to the voters in April municipal election, April 7th, 2020, to ask if they wish to continue fluoridation of the town's drinking water. So right now, the town does put fluoride in our drinking water. Meeker just went through and narrowly passed a resolution to keep putting fluoride into their drinking water. I've asked Ken Myers to come, and then Don. Would you guys like to please speak on it, on your guys' part real quick? In my opinion, it's not something, we're already using it. I don't think that we need to go to it's up to the council. It's up to the council whether we want to go to the voter or not to do this. We can continue to use it. And in fact, Don could choose to continue.
Technically, it's not something that has to be decided by the council or the town. The person that's in charge of our water supply can make that determination. Obviously, that's not how the council would like to view this particular item, so.
So Don, did you want to speak on it any at all?
I'm going to let Emily speak on it. She's done a lot of the studies on this and everything, but I totally back what she says, and I think that she can make a valid point as to some of the reasons why we possibly want to see a different process or different application or not using fluoride in our drinking water.
I'm going to ask you guys to come up to the podium. Thank you.
Emily Peterson from the Utilities Department, and so like Dawn and Lisa said, we do currently fluoridate our water supply. It's a long, well-documented history of a reduction in dental cavities by use of water fluoridation, so it's definitely led to some great strides in public health and dentistry, and nobody is denying that. But at this time, we do have some hazard concerns with the handling of the fluoride that we use at the water plant and the consistency of dosing there. And with the resources that we have available to us in our community with the dental hygiene school, and also ingested and non-ingested products such as canned foods, non-stick pans, so those would be things that you would end up systemically ingesting a little bit, which is similar to the fluoride being in your water. But also, I mean, toothpaste and mouthwash, so there are several sources where you can get the same benefit without it having to be in a water supply. So at this time, we just wanted to bring it to you guys with some of that information and see if there were questions about that, or if...
How much has the fluoridation changed since we first started doing it? Has it gone down?
So the recommended dosage has decreased. As far as my research has indicated, it used to be recommended to be dosed at a much higher amount, and I think the max on that state is now recommending is 1.4 milligrams per liter, but they prefer us to dose between 0.6 and 1. It just kind of varies with what you have naturally occurring in your water. So that what they recommend is going down, but it is still recommended for public dental health.
And we have it naturally occurring in our water?
We do, but lower concentrations of it.
As to do we know the concentration?
Our dosing isn't always consistent because we do use a powder-based application, but it's probably anywhere between a 0.13 milligram per liter to a 0.30 milligram per liter. It just kind of depends.
So it's there.
It is.
Did you say there's health issues?
I didn't say. I don't think that I said that, but
Okay.
There's not a lot of long-term studies about systemic fluoride that really look at those long-term health effects other than the dental benefits, because there is some evidence going way back to the early 1900s that exposure to fluoride in your water does help decrease cavities and dental caries. They're the same thing, but...
There is somewhat of hazards to our town employees for handling this
Yeah,
stuff.
for us, because handling so we use a powdered sodium silicofluoride, and so that is a respiratory hazard to us. We do have to suit up. We have to use respirators, all kinds of physical protection to protect us from it. So if there was to be an incident, it would probably be an exposure to one of us. We're not, because we do dose on the lower end of the spectrum, we're not terribly worried about exposing the public to a fluoride, overdose there, but also the analytical equipment that we're not required, but the analytical equipment that is used to monitor that is very expensive and is not reliable, and it is a cost we would have to keep up with if we were going to keep using it.
You mentioned cost. What kind of cost savings do we have if we eliminate it?
So the fluoride itself is a very low-cost product to put into the water. But that analytical equipment that we would be required to use, the safety equipment for the employees, the analytical equipment itself, each analyzer, and we would need one for each discharge line headed out of the plant. We have 2 right now. Those fluoride analyzers are anywhere between $4,000 and $6,000 a piece on the low end, and they do have to be replaced every year. Has been our experience. The company that we've been buying our equipment from actually gave us a free unit because they don't back their analytical equipment to last to monitor that fluoride. So that's pretty costly.
Why is it so hard on that equipment?
That is a really good question. They didn't really want to elaborate with us, but it seems like the spectrometer that is in that analytical equipment doesn't last through continuous use. We have a bench top that we use every day to monitor what's in the water that's going out, but that's something that has to be done by hand. And with something, I mean, with anything we're putting in the water, it's better for us if we can continuously monitor what that dosing is and what the concentration is going out to the public.
We actually have enough chemical right now to probably last us 35 years.
A long time, yeah. But we've also had that chemical on hand for at least the last 10 years.
Does it go bad?
Not to my knowledge, no.
It's just a.
We have a lot of it, so. The consistency of the dosing and the hazards to the employees are probably our biggest concerns. Obviously, we want the public to be healthy, but we do have a lot of resources here in our community that provide for that outside of water fluoridation. So that's why we're bringing it up with you now.
Any other questions for Emily?
What would we do with all that chemical? If
That
we
is a great question. It is actually one of the most hazardous chemicals that we handle at all. And so we have a contract with Safety Clean because there is fluoride that is removed from our current system that has to be disposed of. And so we already have a contract with them to dispose of the diluted fluoride, but that's something that we would have to investigate to find out what we could do to get rid of the concentrated powder form, because in that form it is very dangerous.
We have someone from the state who has offered to take it, sell it, or buy it from us. It is in demand in other places. But they can't get the supply.
Thank you. Ken? Thanks for coming. I appreciate it.
Sure. My name is Ken Myers, for the record. Andy asked me mainly to come for education, and that's really why I'm here. So if you have questions, ask. Fluoride is the mineral that's incorporated into the substructure of the tooth, and most importantly in the enamel. And what people don't realize is how early on in utero that starts. That starts at about week number 6 or 7. The enamel itself starts forming about in between the first and the second trimester. And Emily pointed out some excellent facts about the topical benefit of fluoride that once all of our teeth are erupted, we get. So in other words, the exposure from the fluoride to our teeth, once they've erupted, is very much community-wide in other sources. But where it's critical is for the in utero fetus to pick it up and to incorporate it into the substructure of the tooth so that the benefit that the fluoride provides, which is to strengthen and harden the enamel, making it more resistant to the attack from the decay, is there from the get-go. That, unfortunately, is something you can't be exposed to once in a while and pick up the benefit. You have to be getting it regularly. So in communities that don't have the water fluoridation, you can obtain drops of fluoride, but they're placed in such a way that the mother is constantly taking it on, and then once the child's born, it goes into formulas, or they're constantly exposed to it in small doses, because that proper amount of fluoride has to be absorbed over time. It can't just be you picked it up Tuesday and you got some Friday and you're good to go. But once the teeth have erupted, Emily's spot on the money. There's a ton of places that we get exposure to fluoride, but we really aren't getting the benefit as much as we do when it's a fetus and a child. Teeth are formed up until they're about 10 years old, or till we're about 10 years old, all of us. So it not only affects the baby teeth, but it affects our adult teeth. So,
is there a correlation between how much fluoride needs to be in the water and having good development?
Yes, and that's where Emily came up with the numbers, and she'd probably know that better than I would. As far as I know, it was between 0.5 part per million, and the last recommendation I saw was 0.7. It had been 1.2, they lowered it to 1, and then they just keep going down because we as a society are drinking more water, especially, they used to vary it summer to winter, but I think now, and again, they're more expert at that than I am, but now I believe it's straight across the board at a certain level. So yes, they have correlated a certain amount to the proper proportion. Communities like Colorado Springs, where it is naturally occurring, I believe at one point in time it was above the recommended dosage, wasn't it?
But it was fluctuation because of the water supply.
Yeah.
Good when it is, so they had higher concentration.
Yeah. And at that point in time, you could tell that particular segment of society had improperly developed teeth because of an overexposure to the fluoride. So too much is not a good thing in this case.
So in these communities that do not have fluoride in their water, how are they getting, expecting mothers to take fluoride? I mean,
Right. Therein lies the rub. You can get prescriptions for the droplets of fluoride so that you add it to your drinks every day. The problems that you run into are compliance. If we aren't getting it all the time, then we're not getting the benefit from it. And I'm sorry to say this, but it is a public health issue. Definitely there's a certain socioeconomic level that doesn't comply, doesn't get the prescriptions filled, and we end up as a society paying for that later on. I did have reference to one study that had actually gone in and determined how much the cost benefit is per person as a whole. And of course, I love studies because they'll say whatever the author wants. But basically, if they had the benefit, if they looked at the benefit of the fluoride versus what it costs to repair the teeth later, because mind you, we're on the hook for that too. The cost savings was somewhere around $30-some per person as a society as a whole. So in some communities, it does not make economic sense, but as a public health issue, hands down, as Emily said, it's a benefit to the teeth.
I mean, I kind of look at it like as folic acid. Like, we know if you're going to be getting pregnant, you want folic acid so you get neural tube development. I mean, I see that same thing. So I'm kind of, while you're talking, I don't mean to be rude, Ken, but I'm just kind of perusing the internet here to see, like, are there prenatal vitamins that have fluoride in there for that argument? And my cursory examination of my terrible research skills on Google haven't really come up with much yet. But
yeah, so I can't tell you on the vitamins side. I have no idea.
Does anybody have any questions for Ken?
I actually have one more question for Emily. Do we have a natural? Sorry, Ken. Thank you. Do we have a natural occurring amount in our water?
We do.
And what?
Just like in Colorado Springs, our naturally occurring amount does fluctuate as well. So it could be anywhere between a 0.13 and a 0.30 milligrams per liter, and that milligrams per liter is also parts per million. So the naturally occurring amount we have might not always be that half of a part per million, like Ken was saying for the fetal development, but we do have naturally occurring fluoride here.
Thank you, both of you guys, for coming, giving us information. So I guess the question we have in front of us is, do we want to take this to our voters in April, or?
I feel like we should, along with information, so that they have the education to make an informed decision.
Is April too early? I mean, if you're just going to try to get information out for everybody right off the bat, I know it's a couple months away, but is that?
We would basically put out something kind of like you get with your blue book for the upcoming election that just has pros and cons. It wouldn't be books of information, because I think we can probably agree that they have given a pretty good synopsis, both sides of what the pros and cons are. The only other way we could do that is to hold a special election. I think it's better. That's why we brought it up now, is because this would be the time, if we're going to put it on an election, to make that decision.
Alyssa, are you want to make that motion then?
Are we done? Are we? Oh, yes, I will make a motion to approve Resolution 2019-07. 2, present a ballot question to the voters in the April municipal election on April 7th, 2020, asking if they wish to contain fluoridation of the town's drinking water.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made by Alyssa, second by Luke. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
So I only heard 2-1 on the vote. Can we call for a hand vote? All those in favor, raise your right hand. 3. Okay, I didn't hear you. Okay, it's 3-1 for. Item 14I, discussion action to authorize the town of Rangeley to apply for a CDOT TAP grant for improvement on the Kennedy Drive path for $1,028,000. The TAP grant requires a 20%, which would be $206,000 cash match for the 80% grant.
At least I couldn't read it. The font's too small. Can you kind of tell me what
So
it's?
the CDOT grant is basically to do improvements that can be also bike paths, and the Kennedy Drive path is one that we've been trying to target for the last few years. It is dilapidating. It is used by not only the college students, which is really their only egress down from the college other than going on the back roads, because Kennedy Drive has no shoulder whatsoever, and it is dilapidating rapidly. We, I believe it was in 2013 or 14, we had a design done for bike and walking paths all around Rangeley, and Kennedy Drive was included in that, so we're just going back and revisiting that. We originally thought we would apply for GOCO funds, but after visiting with the college, they have some proposals that they want to make to GOCO, so we chose to maybe partner with them on some of their projects. And Jocelyn and I found the CDOT grant, which we think is a great grant because obviously it's 80-20, so 80% of our funds would be used towards that. So Jocelyn is asking for permission to apply for that. If we don't get the grant, we won't proceed with the project until we can find other avenues to help fund some of those expenditures.
Well, and the $1 million. Did
That was for a cement path, and that would also take it
take the
off
asphalt out
yeah,
and do
right,
cement the
right.
whole way?
And it would also
Okay.
take it away from the road, because I don't know anybody that's walked along that path. It gets a little dicey when cars are driving by you because you're right there, and it's a 40-mile-an-hour speed limit. So
Did it have anything
it
extra
included-
lights?
It included lighting, and we also are going to just review that too and make sure that we're doing, the best possible path, but also at, the most inexpensive way that we can produce something that will last for a while. So we're going to definitely get into the construction part of that.
In the grant cycle, I think the reason why she's doing it now is a grant cycle for.
This CDOT grant lasts for over 3 years, so we can do it in sections also. It's a 3-year program, and so we couldn't apply for this in the next year. So this is our opportunity to get some funds to help with that. And part of it is accessibility for different parts of the community. It really fits what we're doing for that project.
Okay, I'll make the motion to approve the authorization of the town of Rangeley to apply for the CDOT TAP grant.
I'll
Second.
Motion's been made by Trey, second by Alyssa. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 14J, discussion action to authorize the town of Rangeley to apply for a Tier 2 EIAF grant on December 1st. What is that, Lisa?
29.
Kind of.
Okay, let's start over. Discussion action to approve the town of Rangeley to apply for a Tier 2 EIAF grant on December 1st, 2019 for the water distribution project to be completed in 2020 in the amount of $500,000.
This is also a line just for everyone that hasn't talked about it. that is a cement line that we have that comes up Kennedy Drive. That is a line that is very old. It is one that would be really hard for us to repair. So, and in order for us to have redundancy for the water line throughout Rangeley, we've got to get another line that goes up, and rather than try to go through all the, we now have multiple electrical fiber, everything coming up Kennedy Drive. We're going to try and bring that up 139 and go up the back way to our water tanks. And so that's what that will do, is replace the line that is cement that comes up Kennedy Drive, and it'll go around the back side of the hill up to the water tanks.
And the old line will stay in, correct, as a backup line,
Right,
just in case.
right.
So I'm a little confused. We talked about it in the work session that it'd be 730,000.
500, but the other is for the redundancy to come over, to bring the water line over from,
The
low zone to high
Yeah.
zone.
low zone, middle zone.
right, the low zone. And that will be applied for in the next year. This one's just for the water line improvement.
Okay.
So I motion that we authorize the town of Rangeley to apply for the Tier 2 EIAF grant on December 1st, 2019 for the water distribution project to be completed in 2020 in the amount of $500,000.
Second.
Motion's made by Luke, second by Tyson. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 14K, discussion and action to authorize the town of Rangeley Police Department to apply for a firehouse sub-grant for 12 AEDs, which will cover all the PD cars as well as dispatch center, town of Rangeley outlying buildings, at a cost of $18,720. This grant is 100%.
So that's a no-brainer to me.
And we threw in the fire hall to get one too, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And LaDonna.
LaDonna, do you want to talk on it real quick? Well,
I was gonna just motion to approve. I'll make a motion to approve. Rangeley Police Department to apply for the firehouse grant.
Second.
Motion's been made by Trey, second by Luke. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Informational items are there. Scheduled announcements. Is there anything else that needs to be brought in front of the town council?
I have one other thing that I missed, Andy. So Scott Carmichael with Walter Environmental is applying for the final reimbursement. They finally finished the environmental study on the 5S station, which is where the Automotive Museum is. They are done. So we will do one more grant and we will be finished with that. That started actually prior to me coming to my employment here. So I came in 2006 and I believe they had started that a few years prior to that. So that's been a very long ongoing process.
Mm-hmm. Anything else? Meeting adjourned at 8:09. Thank you for coming.